Well, hey, good morning. Hello, everyone. This is your old pal Turnpiker Pete, which was actually a model my father got me of a Peterbilt truck when I was like 10 years old. When your name is Pete, you get a lot of Pete-related things as gifts, and Turnpiker Pete was the name of the truck that the model, which I painted and scraped and glued together and sat on my shelf for quite a while. I remember that truck well. However, today, other than reminiscing, I'm going to be talking about what we're experiencing now as far as um, rioting. Not so much the COVID. I'm not a branch COVIDian anymore. I don't care. But if you look at what the Communist Party, and by Communist Party I mean both Russian and Chinese, they have been. Wait, I gotta push that button. They have been since 1923, in the case of the Russians, trying to feed communism to America. And socialism is a very necessary step towards communism, and unions are the first and most necessary step towards socialism. Um, Ayn Rand said that socialism and communism is the difference between being shot with a pistol by someone else or using the same pistol for suicide. You're just as dead. It's who is holding the gun. Communism, socialism, very similar. Oh, I know. Oh, but the textbook things, Peter. Oh, you can't be right. They're described differently, and didn't they fight one another? Well, the Bloods and the Crips fight like Bloods and Crips. Are they different, other than colors and location? Seriously? Can you tell me the difference between the Bloods and the Crips that causes them to hate each other as gangs and fight all the time like Hatfields and McCoys? Hell, the Hatfields and the McCoys were very similar to each other. So don't tell me that because communists fought socialists, oh, they're totally different. They can't have anything, nothing similar, nothing the same. They're totally different. No, fuck you, pal. They had a plan. They wanted to bring socialism to America. And the weakest part of the fabric of the American society was the fact that we had different ethno-socio type. We had Chinese and Japanese and black and white European. We had a melting pot. And it was, people came to America to become Americans. All through the 17s and the 1800s, we were the land of opportunity. We mostly brought in people from Europe, but that's because those were the people who saw the opportunity for what it was. But that doesn't mean there were no free blacks who immigrated here because opportunity existed. Every black in America is not a descendant of slaves. In fact, many of our descendants of slaves, the black people that are now demanding reparations, their ancestors owned slaves. There was a greater percentage of blacks who owned slaves than there was whites by a large stretch. Oh, really? Yep. I hate to sound like Cenk, but look it up, man. Look it up. You're going to have to trust me, or don't trust me. Prove me wrong. Communists saw that chink in our armor, the fact that we were not a homogeneous state. We were diverse in ethnicity. And they said, we're going to poke at that. We're going to use that one weakness to pry America apart, feed it socialism until socialism becomes the law, communism breaks in, and we're fucked. that's what we're seeing right now. The rioting, the people that are rioting, come on, George Floyd, he was saying he couldn't breathe before a cop touched him. It's not protesting George Floyd. It's not protesting the terrible murders of blacks by cops. Because guess what? First, a black man is more likely to be shot by a black cop than a white cop. Second, nine unarmed black folk were killed by white cops in all of 2018. 9 of them. You can name them all. If it was an epidemic, if it was a pandemic of just police brutality on the poor black man, wouldn't there be thousands? Now, you want to talk thousands of black deaths? Let's look at the hands of other blacks. That's who's killing off blacks, not white cops. Black criminals. Can you go and protest black criminality, please? Because I'm behind you on that. But these riots, this 2.5 months now up in Portland, it's not about racism. It's using racism as an excuse to try and destroy America as founded, to try and crumble all of the things that allow you to have an iPhone, to film the riots, and order the bricks, and have the pallets delivered without even having to be in the same state. All that capitalism, by the way, that doesn't happen under communist regimes, all that capitalism made it work. All of that freedom of expression, all that First and Second Amendment made that work, and now you want to tear them down. Assuming that the all love, no hate overlords who you're trying to usher in aren't going to kill you first. I got news for you. Revolutionaries? There have been revolutions in the past. Just so you know, we've had the opportunity to look back in history and say, oh, look, a revolution. When the new leftist regime takes over in whatever little tin horn dictatorship where revolution was put in, guess who they kill off first? All the people who rioted and brought them to power. And they do that for 2 good reasons. A, if they were willing to riot their current government, then they'd be absolutely willing to riot this next government. And B, there might be somebody in the riotous movement who might challenge you for power. That's where we get Hitler's Night of the Long Knives. He killed off anybody who might try and rear his head as a competitor. That's what happens. So don't think that you're going to win because you're fighting the revolution, and then when the new revolutionary leaders get in, they're going to make it A, a utopia, because they won't, and they're going to make it B, all you people that were fighting, you may now lay down your arms, and we're going to appoint you as ministers of the government, and you're going to be celebrated and feted. No, they're just going to, it's not going to happen. They're going to fucking kill you. Because they always do. Okay, I think I've burnt out about as much time. Now you get to see what I really look like. Hang on a second. No, we got a little more time. Look, the country worked for centuries because we allow freedom of speech, not speech codes, not, oh, I think that's hate speech, I might be offended. My right to offend you with my speech is infinitely more important than your right to shut me up because you're offended. In fact, you don't have a right to shut me up because you're offended. I, however, have a right to go to work. It's been Turnpiker Pete with Driving You Mad.